Hello, everybody. I'm Cindy Myers, and welcome to tonight's Intuitive Listening webinar. And tonight we're actually going to discuss about when is it a good time to listen to your lizard brain. We want to listen, definitely want to listen to lizard brain if we're in danger. It's that reactionary part of our brain that says slam on the brakes, or um, you know, there's something spooky out there and we need to be careful. So we will definitely, there are times when we wanted to run the show and we do want to listen to it, but it's when it's spinning and telling us to do stuff that isn't the wisest thing, but it's our buttons getting pushed. That's the part that we want to talk about tonight. So before we get going, if you're having a medical emergency, please call 911 or your doctor. But what I can do for you is to get your any emotions released and support your energy system that will help your natural healing abilities during any kind of a situation that may be going on. And so again, tonight we're going to talk about the lizard brain. And so what's the difference between lizard brain and your uh, and your higher thinking brain? Because it's all in your brain. It's all there. But it's actually that part of us. And why do I call it lizard? Well, it's that little walnut sized part of our brain that we share with reptiles. And I kind of get um, I admit I get a little wigged out about some reptiles like snakes. So I prefer to look at it like a little cute lizard, because that to me is a little less scary. That doesn't push my buttons. So because most of the things that our lizard brain talks to us about are not as big a deal that it makes it out to be. That says you need to do it this way. It's usually smaller stuff that our buttons get pushed and it tells us to do something. It isn't the thing that says you when lizard brain kicks in, it's usually not that those things that it was designed for, which was to save our life in an emergency situation. So, and it has three decision making. Uh, for the most part, it has three uh, themes of decisions that it follows. It runs, it freezes, it fights. So those three things. And so it so if you look at your patterns, you may notice that you tend to avoid things. You'll just go, oh, I don't want to deal with that right now. That's kind of run. You run away from the problem. If you get angry at it, or if you get into more conflicts, that's the fight response system. Run and freeze can be quite similar. I kind of think of procrastinating as sometimes, or just I can't. I This is a good example of my freeze. I start doing something and then I go do something else, then I go do something else, then I go do something else, and I don't get anything done. But one thing leads to the other, So it's kind of not productive. But or I just can't think about it. I just want to avoid it completely, and it's just out of sight, out of mind. So that's kind of dusting around my house. So if I look at it, I go, no, it's not there. I don't like dusting. It's not really lizard brain. I just don't like doing it. Anyway, I digress. But those are the three main things. So you can kind of see which one do you fall into most often. Is you'll tend to fall into one of those themes more often. You might do all three, but you may find yourself in one of those or the other. And that's the thing that your lizard brain, that's your default system. And how your lizard brain will say, okay, I'm scared, something is upsetting me, I'm stressed out, whatever. This is how we handle that situation, and lizard brain takes over and follows that thing. So, and you might do is find that you spin a lot. You may ruminate over a conversation or a problem over and over and over and over, but not really address it. And that's lizard brain taking over. It just spins over it, but it doesn't really come up with a solution, um, or it doesn't change anything. You just keep doing the same thing over and over again. and get the same results, which is not solving the deeper inner problem. So again, the habit may have been created for a good reason, but it isn't serving you in solving the real issue at hand. So one thing to do, and this is when it can be handy to actually slow things down and listen more carefully to what lizard brain is telling you. Yes, there's tools to help you stop lizard brain, and we've talked about that in many, many webinars, and we can go over some of those tips. But I think most of you that have been with me for a while know that you don't want to do the breathing, you want to do gratitudes, you want to slow yourself down, and just kind of that will help calm that lizard brain down. So you can do that, but that's kind of deflecting off of the deeper issue. But if you really want to kind of go, well, why do I keep on spinning my wheels? What's trying to get my attention? Or let me try and change this pattern completely so I can just completely get off the hamster wheel. So that's when we want to listen a little bit more carefully, because what your thoughts are telling you, what's being said in that spinning mode, will give you a clue of what trapped emotions that may be being triggered, that will really get into the pattern more closely, and that important theme. So, um, for example, maybe you're upset about somebody mm, not coming through for you, so you may not feel you might feel unsupported, and you'll just spin over and over and over about, I'm always there for everybody else. Why, the one time I need some help, nobody shows up for me. Whatever that might be, that's unsupported. So you might listen to your dialogue a little bit and go, okay, so what other times have I not been that do I feel that way? These chances are you have a whole pattern, a whole history of whatever that emotion is that's triggering you. And when you fit down deeper into that, one of those words, you can get an aha moment, and you go, "Oh, I get it. This is that pattern. Oh, I'm so done with that pattern." So then, what do you do? Well, one is we want to get rid of the trapped emotion, but what we want to do is pause for a second, and as you're listening to your words, then this is where you can try and pivot away and change the habit. So when you pivot, what I mean by that is, there's probably a different perspective in looking at this situation. There's a different attitude that I can think of instead of, feeling unsupported or whatever the emotion is that you're really stuck on. And it could be a couple of them, but that whatever you're really being triggered over, we can change that perception. We change that language as we remove the trapped emotion. And so when you think of that, it's like going from, I don't feel, instead of feeling unsupported and upset by nobody being there, well, one, maybe you're picking the wrong people, or you need to voice your authentic self a little differently that gets you support. You choose something differently, or maybe there's something inside you that believes you're not truly worthy. Because what's unsupported? If you dig a little deeper, it's probably a sense of unworthiness, that you don't deserve to have people there for you. So you want to go in, you know what? I am worthy of having full support. And I'm choosing to find the people that can fully support me. And it may not be the person or people that you're trying to get them to support you and they never do. You know what? Maybe you let that go and go, oh, this person will be there for me. No problem. They get it and they want to help me. And it's not a big deal. It's choosing differently. And that's the pivot. You go from that to that. And it just might change. You have to change the tune, the channel a little bit, and allow yourself, one, by feeling worthy, you're opening the door to finding the ones that get that and see that already in you. So often when we get triggered, or that triggering is, we want the one that did the wounding to do the healing. In honesty, in all honesty, it's probably not that person that's going to do the healing. It's coming in from you to say, one, that yes, you are worthy of receiving the right thing, or what the right care, but it might be also receiving it from a different individual that already sees your worthiness, because somebody else isn't fully seeing it, and that's their issue. And realize that isn't your issue necessarily. It's probably their issue. And it might have been your contract to keep pushing each other's buttons that way, but it doesn't mean you have to have that contract forever. You can break the contract and go on to receiving it from somebody that actually sees your worthiness and absolutely thrilled to be there for you. So, so, and for some of you new to especially my healing circles, I like showing this chart because when I talk about love or above and at why you want to add in gratitude when it helps you to slow down that lizard brain and calm yourself down, this chart can be of helpful, just a visual for you to see. When I talk about love above, it's that green bar on up, and you want to be in that higher state. Those are um, exponentially stronger emotions. As we go up that chart, it gets exponentially stronger. And so that love is way stronger than fear. Okay. You can see its magnitude so much stronger than fear. So when you get triggered by fear, anything in the fear state, then a good way to calm it down is just think of love. Gratitude's even higher than love. So that's why I like to choose gratitude um, over even love because one, it's easy to find things that you could, doesn't have to be over what you're upset about or stewing over, where lizard brain is triggered and going over it. You want to get gratitude, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It could be a beautiful day and you're just enjoying the lovely sunshine. That's fine. Because again, what you're doing is you're triggering your body, your brain into releasing the chemicals of gratitude into your body, which again are the higher frequency emotion. Those trigger then the parasympathetic response system, which is a calming system, which is the opposite to the fear-based system. And now you can get into that quieter state. So when I talk about love or above, that's what I'm talking about. We want to get into that higher frequency, powerful, magnitude stronger, exponentially stronger emotions that really quiet the brain and help you access your higher self, that smarter thinking brain of yours instead of that walnut shaped one that tends to drive things and make, but when it drives things, it makes really bad decisions most of the time. So let's just keep that in mind if you stay on for the healing circle later on or my future healing circles. And for the next events, I just put a couple. There's quite a few more things happening in September, but I just put the immediate ones up. So September 9th, that's this Saturday, we'll have a healing circle. And then next Wednesday, we'll have another healing circle. I won't be having a couple this month, including one on a Wednesday. I usually always have something on a Wednesday, but on September 20th, I'm actually having something, but it's not one of my typical events. I'm doing a fundraiser for somebody. So I won't be doing a healing circle on the 20th of this month. But otherwise, just keep an eye on my calendar and I'll be sending out emails on what's coming up. All righty, we just did a quickie, quick and dirty today. I'll open it up if anybody has any questions. Ask away if you have any questions or would like a clearing before we get going on the healing circle. Anybody? All right. You guys are shy tonight. All right, no problem. All right, I'm going to stop the recording then.